I'm Scott Al Miller. It's the 23rd of January, 2022. This is my vlog of daily life living in Nicaragua, and today is Monday. We're doing something interesting, I think, and that is that my father has requested that he wants to have a view of the Aeropuerto Leon, that is Leon's airport, which is actually in the Barrio Sutiyava. And so I've taken a walk out here. I have been here a number of times before, but I've never filmed it except for one time a long time ago. I did a Barrio walk in Sutiyava, and I was able to come right to the corner of the airport, and that is it. That's all we showed is the corner on the east side. We are now going to enter from the west side and do an entire walk along the airport, and I want to show where we are. So I'm standing on Nicaragua 14, in case you can't tell from the traffic and the noise, and it is an extremely windy day, but I'm hoping that the microphone is going to cut that out. So I'm going to turn the camera slowly and give you guys a view. So first of all, we're looking towards the beaches on Nicaragua 14. This is a pulperia that I have shown previously, the Blessing Variedades. They have a whole bunch of different random things. And we have a little side street here that goes along next to the Variedades. I actually don't know much about that. I believe this is actually, I've tried to do some research. This may be the western edge of Veracruz. That is definitely, if Veracruz comes out this far, that road is the end of it. We then have this nice property here, and this road that we're looking down with a little, so we have a little park here. This is Calle 6. This is 6th Street where it ends. So this is the highway. Nothing continues on the other side. So this is the beginning, the very, very first house right here of the Barrio Sutiyava. And we're going to head into the Barrio proper for today's video. I'm going to go ahead and cross the street here. We're heading over to this park. Trust me, I did look to the right to make sure I'm not being run over. And I'm looking again one more time just because they'll just run me over. So this street here, it's kind of interesting because this road is a little residential area and has this cute little park right here. I talked about this in one of my recent videos, these little tiny parks. We even have a fire hydrant for kids that are nestled into little neighborhoods. They're all over the place, and this is just in a little triangle where the road separates, and we are going to head. I'm not going to keep doing continuous video, but you can tell it's a really smoky, dusty day. I hope you can see it down the road. We're heading towards all that dust and smoke down there at the airport, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting walk as we enter the Barrio from the west and explore it. We also have one of these crazy dangerous sidewalk situations. Every so often you find one of these. I just have to show this. This is one of the less desirable things here in Nicaragua, the surprise death sidewalks from time to time. All right. Let's slowly turn around here. All right, I'm off for a really long walk today, so I can't just roll the camera and ramble the whole time. Oh, but I do want to show this. Okay, so we just entered, that's Nicaragua 14, that's the little park. I think you can see where I'm pointing. And then we have this road that goes really deep back towards Veracruz. So at some point we will do that road and explore more, but we are heading into, wow, it is dusty and smoky. We are in the summer, so this is the dry season, and there is so much dirt in the air from just the wind whipping up the dirt, and this is an incredibly dirty road, and yes, there's a lot of trash you see up the road. We'll show more when we get up there. This is not a heavy residential area. Right here where it's at Nicaragua 14, there's this little neighborhood that like connects to Veracruz. And there's a few houses you can see over here. I think you can see where I'm pointing. There's a big yellow multi-story building over there that is up against Nicaragua 14. So some big things there. There's a couple things along this road and a couple nice things for sure. Like everything in Nicaragua, you're going to have all kinds of surprises wherever you go. Yeah, they're actually burning trash right where I am, and you can see it here. Okay, we're gonna stop here because I have a quick story to tell. But right here, there's burning trash, and you can see lots of trash burning up there. This part of the road by the airport is popular for burning trash. I have to point out this, on one of the videos, I said there was a gorgeous place that I wasn't sure what it was. That's this house. I'm gonna get an up close of it, and that whole wall, that whole thing is this gorgeous estate. And look, more burning trash over there. So first of all, it's Saturday, so it's kind of burning trash day, and this is a street where they burn trash. But, okay, so this road, quick story. A number of years ago, we were here in 2015, and the first time that we came to Leon, Dominica and I and the kids were staying in the city. We stayed at the Hotel Azul, which is, the building's still there and labeled, but the hotel hasn't been there in years. And we stayed downtown, and we were only in Leon for a little bit, so we didn't get a lot of feel for it. And one of the things we wanted to do was go to the beach. So we went to Ponaloya, and Google directed us down this road, down 6th Street at the time. I have no idea why Google thought this was a good idea, but at the time, first of all, that was a rough road. We came to here because we were trying to get to Nicaragua 14 to head down. So let me show you. So now this ditch is pretty easy to drive over, but at the time it was much deeper, and horses could go over it, but most cars could not. And like, this house was not here then, that was here, this wall was here, and so we ended up at the time driving through here. So this is funny that 7 years ago, I know exactly where it was. This was a jewelry store, a really large jewelry distributor, and this was flatter than it is now, and this was deeper, and we got stuck right here, and this berm was not there yet. And we took, because we had a Toyota Yaris that we were renting, and we drove up through there and onto Nicaragua 14 and went, because we couldn't get to the actual road that I just walked through. So I've had that story locked and loaded for 7 years, 8 years now, to tell you guys. And now I'm standing here for the first time. All right, now this house, gorgeous. Oh, I don't know what's on the inside. The outside is fantastic. Look at this. Look at this design. I love it. So first of all, you got the cobblestones down here, you got this beautiful door, and then this entrance door there. I like all of this. I'm gonna try to show it from above. I got it, remember, we're out in the country, like look at where we are. But they put in their own absolutely beautiful tile sidewalk, nice grass out at the front, built in 1924, or that's the house number. It's hard to say. I'm gonna guess this is built in 1924. This is so classic. This is like Mexican hacienda style going on here. Got beautiful mature trees all around the property. I would love to be able to get a tour of that house at some point. That would be fantastic. What a cool spot. I really hope that this wind noise is not too bad for you guys, because it is really windy out here. This is one of the windiest days I've had in months, but it makes it nice for going out and getting a walk, because you can see you can't go straight down this road. Every so often I come down here in a taxi, and it's like this huge challenge to make it down the road. So the school, Sutiyava, is right over here, one of these properties right here as well. So if you're looking at a map, that is where we are. And I'm gonna head up this road, and we're gonna continue exploring. One of the nice things is I'm on the GoPro 11, and it overheats like crazy, but we're not in the sunlight, and there's this breeze. So it's cooling the camera off a lot more than it normally does. So fingers crossed that it's not gonna die on us, because we've had a lot of problems with it dying on us. So onward and upward. All right, the smoke is so thick. I'm gonna show, oh, we got someone coming by. All right, so here's some buildings that have burned out in the past. There's a horse hanging out in the trash. I don't understand why he's here. That is a big trash dumpster. That is on fire, of course. But this is where just this whole area is trash that's on fire right now, and it's burning everything. You can see the surrounding area is starting to burn. And this is just, trash gets burned around here. And you can kind of see there's the radio tower down there, but there's so much smoke you can't really see anything. Now, it's not every day that it's burning like this, but this is really extreme. There's a lot of trash on fire out here, and this horse seems to think it's the place to be. I don't understand why he's here. He can clearly walk away. It's just interesting, I guess, because he's not tied down in any way. But the amount of trash everywhere out here, because it's all dumped, and then the wind comes and picks it up and blows it around, and this road is so bad. Hello, horsey. So this is, hola, yep. Buenas tardes. So the upside, right, is that it's a very practical single location where tons and tons of the city trash goes. That used to be, I showed it, there was a place in the middle of the city where they were basically doing the same thing, and that's been turned into a beautiful park. And now this spot by the airport is being used, and it keeps it relatively isolated, that there's a single spot, and you'll notice that most of the things around it are fields. There are a few houses, but like this that I'm coming by, this is pretty clearly not a habited building. And this is the airport. That open field right there is the beginning of the airport, I believe. And so for the most part, this is a pretty safe area to bring everything down and burn it. But it's still not great that there's this giant pile of burning trash that goes on. And I mean, there's so much smoke that it goes all over Veracruz and way down the highway. But luckily there's a lot of wind today, which is probably why it's burning so much. Who knows if it was intentional that much is burning. But here on the, eastern end, you can see a road goes through and people start to live here again by the airport. So it's a pretty loosely habited area, but there are people pretty heavily affected by the trash. It would be nice if this was turned into a decent road, because it is an important thoroughfare, or would be to the city if it was more passable. And it's an opportunity of a spot that could be pretty easily cleaned up and made into something desirable, because this is not a busy airport. So I'm going to turn the camera again and show. This is the airport here at Sutiyava, and there's a lot of these old buildings that aren't in use. You can see the people walk through, but it's all fenced. And this is pretty much only used once in a while for like crop dusters and helicopters. So we see a flight only a couple times a week at most. And pretty much if there's going to be a flight, we would see it. So sorry, the wind has really picked up. So let's continue walking along the airport and see if there's anything we can see. All right, we are out here. We actually have a view of the airport. There's, again, some of these old buildings that are clearly not in use anymore. And you can see the airstrip is just a tiny little asphalt, very short runway. You can see the windsock down there. A couple of these, I almost fell over. A couple old vehicles and such. You can see a church. I think that's an open air church, it seems to be, on the other side. That's over on 7th. We're standing on 6th, looking kind of southeast, I believe. And we're going to take a walk all the way around the airport and come back on 7th over there. So that is the plan. But this gives you kind of a feel for what the airport is like. I mean, this is a super small, super rural airport. It really is only meant for crop dusters and emergencies. Even like a small 2-prop passenger plane, it's not going to want to land here. I've talked to people about the length of it, and it's very, very short. So it's really those crazy little tiny crop dusters that often are doing stunts and are willing to take off and land on really small runways. That's what you're getting out here. So I do want to point out, okay, so we're not that far from the burning trash that we were at. And this house in red, and this one here, this pink one and this blue one, there's actually some pretty nice houses, nothing fancy, but there's some nice houses along here, even in these little weird out of the way places as you explore. All right, we're gonna keep heading towards the east, deeper into Sutiyava, and when we get to the corner and go around the airport, that's where we filmed a previous episode. That's the corner we came up to. All right, we're here at the sign. It's actually called an Aerodromo here, and this is the main entrance to the airport. Hola! And just really, really small. They do have people in there. They're watering. There's guards. So it's not that it's empty. It's just very lightly used. Yeah, then we have these buildings along here. They do have storage for the airport. So we know that crop dusters use the airport. We see them every so often. And out on the beach, you'll see planes come by that have come from here, and they'll do like sightseeing or whatever. But that's pretty much the purpose. But that is the main entrance. It's very, very small. It does not take passengers, anything like that. I mean, this dog running along here, he's just cute, so we're going to show him. Oh, and he's pooping. We don't need to show that. It's unlucky to watch dogs poop here. That's what gives you eye infections. And a little pulperia here behind me. We'll continue on. All right, we're at another part of the airport, and I'm just going to turn this around again. Sorry, we have no way to get around the fencing here, so the view is a little bit obscured, but very little going on here at the airport. You can tell, though, this was originally used to store a couple airplanes, I'm sure. You can see the traffic again over on 7th. I'm going to show the road here a little bit. This is a shoe repair shop, and this is a cute little house here. And it's interesting here on the road, they've paved it's almost like a sidewalk, but it's like a bicycle lane that's smooth, and the rest of the road is a little bit rougher. So they just did this one spot that's really smooth, and the bicycles are going up and down it constantly. It's kind of funny. Okay, we are now at the northeastern corner of the airport. There's this cute salmon-colored house behind me, and I'm going to swing the camera around. You may remember when we were here before, we went up this direction and did a walk. And for those who have really religiously watched all of my Barrio walks, you know we came down this road, it came around this corner, and went down that way. This is where Sutiyava really becomes the heavy Barrio. You can see the fancier houses starting over here, the big heavy walls. This is the airport. So this is the road we just came down. This is 6th, and this is the eastern edge of the airport, and the traffic down there is on 7th. So we are going to head down that way and start doing a loop back towards Veracruz and the edge of the Barrio where we started the walk. But I'm going to start, there's a little walkway up here that people have taken, and I'm going to get us up. So I've never been up here. This gives us just a little bit of a view of the airport. I'm not sure why people would walk up here when there's a perfectly flat road down there. I guess looking at the airport is interesting. And here we are looking at the airport. So my dad wanted a view. I'm doing what I can to get him. Once I'm doing this, I'm not going to do a lot of airport walks in the future. So this one specifically so he can get a feel for what it's like. Now you can see, I guess we're going to walk forward a little bit. Now I have to put the camera forward. This is what I'm walking on, right? It's not terrible, but come on. This is a little bit ridiculous. So, okay. So here you can see there are some planes currently stored here in the hangars. Very, very few. Those are the ones that we do see from time to time flying out on the beach or above our houses. And other than that, this is the airport. Just a big open space for the most part in the middle of Sutiyava. We got a tower over there. And then it's straight into residential right here. These are all just houses along here. And you can see we're actually in the Barrio. Barrio life is going on. The tricycle doing deliveries of a bed. And we're gonna head down here. I'm gonna try not to fall. I'm gonna not do it on camera because that would be embarrassing. And then we're gonna head this way on 7th in just a second. Okay, we're here at the southeast corner of the airport, and I just wanted, you can see the smoke rising above where we were way down there previously. And then just above that, you can see the radio tower down there. I hope I pointed to it. It's very hard to see on a little camera. And that is the tower that you see on Nicaragua 14 as you head out to the beaches. And you can see, so on that side of the airport, it's all pretty ugly because it's all the hangars and stuff. This side with the hedgerow is actually quite attractive. And as we look through, this is, we're fairly deep in the Barrio. There's some road construction on here. It's actually a pretty attractive area, and it's much more attractive when the ruta is not there in the way of my shot. But there's some cute houses along here. It's a nice, quiet part of the Barrio. And so we're going to go down and head this way along the southern side of the airport so we can show you what it looks like down that way. And that's going to go actually into some other neighborhoods. So we're going to be really exploring down there, a lot less about the airport, a lot more about the neighborhoods that we're going through. All right, let's head out. This part of the city is pretty much all tricycles for transportation. I think this is pretty neat, just how many tricycles there are out here. Now the road is closed down there from construction. This is neat. So all along here, this is a very, very rural area, right? But there's little shops selling like popcorn and soda and little sundries along the side against the airport, which is over here. And then there's just so much tricycle and bicycle traffic coming through. I mean, look at all that. And then this road actually goes to a whole other area. At some point, we're going to explore down there. That is off to the south, and an entire neighborhood and area that I don't know at all, but that is not for today's walk. Today we are heading forward. This is still 7th, heading west back towards Nicaragua 14, but we're going to avoid Nicaragua 14 for quite some ways and actually go a little bit south of the highway and through one of the many neighborhoods that's off the beaten path, which is really cool. Okay, this is ridiculous. That is a no dumping trash sign. Okay. Like, let's be realistic. That's just silly. Some neat older homes along here. Interesting. What a pleasant walk. All right, well, walking by the airport, I stumbled on, and I say this constantly, right? The interesting, weird things that you find all over Nicaragua. Like, it's just the way that housing and communities are laid out is so different. The expectations, the reality, everything is so different than in North America that every time I find anything, I'm just so amazed by it. And I think you guys will find this interesting. So I'm by the airport. I'm going to give a quick view. Actually, I'm going to step over. This side, we're on 7th, is so much higher than 6th. You can really see stuff at the airport. So you can see some of the planes here in the lower hangars. There's actually quite a few. You can see the volcanoes in the distance. That's several volcanoes there above the planes in the middle. It's a very pleasant little area down here. And then we're on this quiet street. And then there's something here with all this advertising along. But I really want to show this. This is an advertisement for new modern housing here in Leon, in a very, very remote part of the Barrio. And then here we go. Modern houses being put in, just started. Looks like 3 units are here. And the one looks like the construction one, and then like 2 or 3 houses. And that was definitely a gringa that was living in that one house getting a delivery. Who lives here? Like, I mean, it's a cool location, right? Like, it's close to Veracruz. It's in Sutiava in the Barrio. It's modern houses. It's probably outrageously affordable. I can only imagine those are somewhere between 20 and 30,000, maybe as high as 40,000 US. But that is like it. Like, they can't be much more than that. Clearly, they've been there for a while, and construction has stalled, as many things have. This that I'm walking past used to be something, and clearly is not anymore. That might be the back of those houses now. I'm not sure. Not sure what we're looking at, but it's very, very weird. Such a thing you would never find in North America. Just in the middle of the Barrio, suddenly a brand new construction, fancy little tiny gated thing, and so cheap, right? Like, that identical thing in Granada a number of years ago, those are 25,000 when they were advertising them for construction. If they're already built, they would be down in price right now. So who knows if those are available? Who knows if they're still doing construction? Like, how old are they? Is that from 10 years ago, from 2 years ago? Who knows? But really interesting. And some of those places like that, right? And I'm going to put, hold on, we're going to take a moment, map. I'm going to show where that is, because how interesting. And so places like this are so far outside of the consciousness. Even people who grew up in Leon, these are streets that they often don't know unless they're specifically from this part of the Barrio, because we're not on a pass-through road to anywhere, right? We're not even on a bypass from anywhere. We're several streets off of any major route. And this is all just very, very local traffic. We're not far from things. If you were to live here and wanted to go to Sutiyava proper and stuff, no problem. It's right there. You want to go to the beach, no problem. It's right there. You want to get to Veracruz, no problem. It's right there. But this is not on its way to anything. We're completely off the path. So bizarre that is there. But now I got two houses that I'm coming past. I'll kind of make it visible, that are absolutely adorable. Very, very cute. And then back to normal. Now I'm going to turn the camera around, because point of reference, when we were on the other side, you could see this windsock here from the other direction. So I was way down in that line of trees looking this way and could see that windsock, and there is San Cristobal, the volcano, just above the trees over there. And we are coming up on what I believe is the cemetery. And I have a tricycle right behind me and one right in front of me. I'm kind of in traffic. Yes, this is the cemetery of Jean Baptiste, or in this case, Juan Batista, which I knew to expect, because I do check out the maps before I come out. So this is where 7th kind of comes to an end. 7th comes and goes past. Hola. Oh, we have a tricycle with fruit here. And so we veer away from the airport at about the halfway point along the airport, and the cemetery runs along the length of it. So let's walk up and take a look at the cemetery, because it will not be very often that we get a chance to look at this particular one. And so the entire, see if I get this right, southwestern edge of the airport is this cemetery. Which appears to be closed today. I don't think I can go in there with you. We don't need to go in there. And then 7th is going to end right over here on another road. Let's look in the main entrance here. This is a built in 1950. Very attractive cemetery here. Tengo buena tarde. So this is the church, I believe, over here that goes with the cemetery. You can see back, that's where we came from, right over there. What a beautiful spot. As we were walking, this woman stopped and talked to me, and she said that my Spanish is always a little bit rusty, but she said that her brother, who lives in Costa Rica, watches me on YouTube. She knew who I was. I knew that I used to live in Barrio, because he watches, I think, the videos of me walking all over, and that's how he sees what's going on down here, is by watching my videos, which is really cool. So I can't, oh no, that is not a church. That is a place selling cakes. Let's go over there. Oh, this sidewalk is terrible. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Oh. it's hard on the video to tell just how much I'm stepping down. And mostly, it's not that it's that far down. It's mostly that I'm old and I'm in sandals, and my foot is much healed, but not completely. And there is a taller here, which is a auto shop. But look, this is a cake shop, Isabel, and they do fresh drinks and cakes and stuff. Actually, those look really good. Those are probably not their photos. They're probably stock photos, but they look really tasty. And I don't have any money with me, or I would potentially buy something. So this is a very, very, we're really getting into the barrio. So I'm going to show these roads. We've gone off having left 7th, the main road. This is the road coming in, which I recommend you look at the map, right, and look around at where we are. So this is a very nicely kept little dirt path. And then we are heading forward here, and this is one of the reasons why the car traffic dies off so much. These are not the best of roads, but this is on 7th, and the sidewalk that I was just on turns into that little dirt path, but it's pleasant. This is very nice and cute, and we are going to, I believe, be heading over. I'm going to check the map before I do this, but there's a little paved road right there. So this is just a weird little bend in the road that kind of does this funky thing. We're going to head down the way that she is headed. And as you can tell, like, this is a neat little community nestled back where you would never guess you were going to find it. But suddenly there's like an intersection of different roads, and there's things going, like, there's a lot going on down here. And there's something biting my leg. That was pleasant. Oh no, it's not biting me. That is little bristly plants that got stuck to me and were poking me. And cute houses and everything. All right, so I need to take a moment and check the map and figure out exactly where we're going and what we're doing, because I want to make sure we're getting the path that is most interesting. But we are now coming along. This is the cemetery here, so the airport's just behind that. And yeah, that's where we are. What an interesting walk. Good idea that my father had, that we should come out here and do along the airport. I don't think he realized what an interesting location this would end up being. Okay, so we ended up turning south from where I was showing you the different roads and went along what on the map is shown as a military base, but it's just these trees and fields over here. And this is actually the road that they showed. So there's a real road right there that I just walked down, and then this dirt path is what shows up on the map as probably like the real road. And there's like a green area listed over there. I guess it's like an area designated for trees and stuff. And what we're about to head into, according to the map at least, is actually a fairly dense little community, like a really serious village that hangs out on the edge of Leon, but is completely off of all major roads. So nothing leads to it, but you have these pleasant roads, like really cute streets that we come down here. Look how nice this is. Buenas tardes. And like no cars, and then like really cute house. Like this could almost be rural England right here. And then, of course, there's another sign that says green area. Buenas tardes. And then these are absolutely fantastic little streets. Lots and lots of greenery. And we do have a motorcycle. This is in no way what I was expecting to find in this community at all. So this is actually a neighborhood that's full of blocks. I don't know if you can hear how much music is going on over here. That is, I believe, a restaurant. Buenas tardes. And so this, oh, here we go. Here's one that is, there's pork for sale. I thought it was a house for sale. There's a community inside there. Weird, very, very interesting. This is such a beautiful area, and a lot of this looks, because of all the sheet metal, it has a certain look to it that North Americans tend to be very averse to, but in reality, this is not a bad area at all, and these streets are fantastic. There is a house for sale right there, Se Vende. Not Se Vende Cerdo, but actually Se Vende. And see, there's other streets. There's another mechanic shop just up there. So this is a full little community of these relatively small streets. There's a pharmacia right down there, and all kinds of stuff. As far as I can tell from the map, we're walking down the main road, if anything can be. But the idea that there's a complete village hidden off the paths, off all of the paths. I don't know, this is like maybe a little apartment building or something? I don't know. And there's all the things down here, little restaurants and a pharmacy, shopping, and mechanic shop and pulperias, all the things nestled in this tiny little community with a beautiful clean road and lots of open green space and some cute little houses. All of it's very small, right? All of this is very modest, but it is a cute area that gives the feeling, for me, for someone who has lived in Nicaragua for a while, of being absolutely safe. Like, this feels like an incredibly safe area. That is a cute little pulperia with a lot of different food items I don't normally see. Tampico I rarely see. And yeah, there's a couple different drinks and snacks there that I'm not used to seeing. This is a tiny, cute house here. And I love all the tricycles. Very few cars, mostly human-powered. Buenas tardes. I'm really enjoying this. This is fantastic. Who would have guessed this is here? All of this falls within the legal confines of Sutiyava. So that is the jurisdiction that we're in. But this I don't believe qualifies as the Barrio. I think this qualifies as a different colonia. Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. And we have chickens hanging out by the road. Buenas tardes. And then coming up here on the left is another shop. Very attractive. It's actually something on the right as well, maybe a barber shop. Oh, lots of stuff here. That's like a Variedades. And more streets, and that goes way down. Like, we could spend a bit of time walking this neighborhood. Not today, because I've gone a long ways already, but at some point I want to come back and really explore this neighborhood. I'm gonna guess that this is a school. This looks like a school. There's a cat in there. There's some playground equipment. That kind of look there, that looks like a tiny, like in the US, we would think of that as like a one-room schoolhouse. It's probably like a three-room schoolhouse. Pretty sure that's what we're looking at. And then there's a field here. Oh, there's the kitty. Hello, kitty. What do you think? This looks like maybe the sports field for the school. Seems likely, although it says construction, so who knows? Hard to say. But there's a photocopy shop that does like printing and things like that. Those are relatively common. You got some cute houses down there. This is a consistently really interesting little village. But right, I mean, when you see the map, you're just outside Leon. Like, I mean, I could easily walk into Leon for things from here. So I'm just I love these little, the way that communities exist out here. Oh, and then those are some kind of government buildings over there, whether they're construction buildings or government offices or resource center or something like that. And then we're coming up on, that's probably a church. I'm going to keep the camera rolling because we're so close to it. And another side street. This is a lot of population living in this little space here. That's part of the thing that's amazing me, is how many people are hidden in this little community that even people who live in Leon don't know anything about. Now, this color pink, that is the government pink, so I'm sure this is a government resource center. Let's see if we can figure out what it is. The center, oh yeah, this is the children's center. So this is where if you need family assistance for small children, that's what that building is. We've seen those on the show in other neighborhoods previously. And they tend to be in these safer areas of poorer neighborhoods. Now, this is what I was thinking is a church. That I believe that is the Church of the Star of Bethlehem. And we have a dog just hanging out here. This little vignette of dog life in Nicaragua. And while all these streets are dirt, this is a nice area. This is a place where you'd be perfectly happy living in many cases. Woo, that's a lot of dust just got kicked up. I'm glad I'm on the GoPro, which is sealed, because this would be a problem with any other camera. There's so much dust and smoke today. All right, I'm heading forward. It feels like we're leaving the village proper. There's another little pulperia selling drinks, and still a lot of life, but it seems to be dropping off. We're gonna check the map and continue on. Buenas tardes. All right, I don't get to go very far before I have to stop and record again, because there's just so much interesting. So I was coming along the main road, and this is the one I was walking down. Like it goes through the village, and then it kind of peters out into just a very silty dust road and comes through even more rural. And then I turn south and I'm coming down this road here, which I'll show goes down like this, right? So we're very much in the country. This little tiny dirt, this is actually listed as a road. It comes along these fields, very rural. And then there's this enormous spot. Look at the cute little garden. And then look at this house, this beautiful stonework, and this huge, huge lot with the gorgeous big trees. And that's the road up there in the intersection. They just have this giant garden spot with this really cute house. Wow. There was also some land for sale in the middle of the village behind me for a small spot where you could build your own thing if you're interested in a little remote village just outside Leon. I'm going to continue down this road, which is going to take us for about a mile, I think, into a completely different community that I know nothing about, so I'm interested in. It's something that's kind of to the southeast of Veracruz. So we're very much discovering new stuff and exploring as we go. I just want to show this road a little bit. It's such a funny road that I'm walking along, that this is the road. This is not like a little back street leading to this community. This is the main road to the community we're headed to. Now, of course, I've never seen this community. I have no idea what we're expecting to find. Maybe it's going to be 2 houses, but it is actually listed with a name, and this place sells nacatamales for less than $2. Nacatamales is one of the national foods of Nicaragua, and these are beautiful orange flowers. I just want to get them. All right, we're heading down this path. Somewhere down there is another village. Okay, we're looking back on the road that I just came down. I'm a ways from where I last recorded, and you can see it's just a small little dirt path. You could get a car through here if you needed to, but this is the edge, I believe, of the new village that we just came upon, and this is the side road. So this, obviously a car cannot go down here. This is even a step, so even a bicycle would have to stop and go around. But that is the frontage of houses going along back there, heading, and that is roughly north, I believe. So it's very interesting. This is an extremely rural village that we're venturing into, but we're still basically in the city, which is what always amazes me, just how close everything is and how rapidly things change from very urban to very rural. And this speedy little walk along this tiny little narrow, deep cut walking road actually ends up taking us through a little tiny community, very poor, obviously, that actually wraps all the way around Veracruz, first to the south, and then comes around on the west side and back to the familiar road that we have been on when showing Veracruz in the past, bringing you back to where I am right now. And that was really interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed that little high-speed walk. I didn't want to actually do my talking while I was in that community because it's an extremely poor community and you're very, very close to people. Like, as I was walking by, I could have touched people sitting in their yards, which would have been very awkward. It's hard to discuss things when you're that close to people. But we are now coming right back out onto Nicaragua 14. I can see it in front of me. And if you watch the video where I walked up to the quarry, this is the road that I walked up, so reference that if you're wondering exactly where I am. But today's walk I found incredibly interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed at the airport and those little communities and little like off the beaten path and what happens when you just follow the map and try to see where the roads go, right? Because when you get off the main roads in Nicaragua, you really get off the main roads and it gets really interesting really fast. It's not like in the US, and I say this a lot, but the US has like this grid and it has these through roads and everything's kind of predictable and you know what you're going to find when you look at a map. And when you're in Nicaragua, the moment you leave those main roads, you have no idea what you're going to stumble on. It could be so poor or so fancy and so interesting or so basic, so giant. You could be a huge population or nobody. Like, you just really never know what you're going to find. And I'll just show, this is one of the entrances to Veracruz right there that I'm walking past, and this is that beautiful field that I like to show. And so that was our walk for the day. Thanks for joining me. For my actual events of the day, this evening, so I worked all day, it's Monday, and this evening, Marcella came over with her kids, Stefari and Valentina, and they hung out with our kids, and Valentina was like, I really want to play something. And they're like, can we just play like hide and seek? And our kids never get to do that, right? They're like, yes, let's do that. So the four of them, they have the whole house and both yards and just so much space, and it was dark. So they just ran and had a lot of fun. It was really good. And they got some exercise, and it was definitely good for our kids to have someone to hang out with. And they're so close in age and pretty close in temperament as well, that they really do get along well, works quite well. And we ordered in pizza from Hollywood Pizza for dinner, and just made a fun evening hanging out, letting the kids play, and having dinner at the house, which we're enjoying so much. Having the house here in Sutiyava has really made it easy for us to be able to entertain. We are being gringos. It is more difficult for us to integrate into Nicaragua society if we lived in a more traditional barrio or deeper in the barrio, and wanted to do the set out on the sidewalk stuff. Of course, no one is going to complain. No, it's not going to be like they can't do that. But it's very hard for us to speak to people who walk by. So much of that culture is speaking Spanish to the neighbors as they walk by, and you become part of the community, which is difficult for us because we don't speak Spanish that well, and really difficult for Paul and Dominica, who really don't like talking to strangers, which is the big thing that happens here. And so, like, it's just difficult for us to fit into that culture. Plus, we have the kids and the dogs, and it's just we bring a lot of baggage that makes it difficult to do some of the things you would often do to integrate into the community. And having the house and the space that we have now with the gardens and the interior space and the guest rooms and just all of that has already started in our first few weeks of living here to make it so easy for us to have friends and family over and to hang out and to have activities. And it's enough space that we're all able to do our own thing. Different people can have someone over, or the kids can have someone to play with. We're not all getting in each other's space. The house in Barrio, while pretty large, because of the way it was situated on the road, because it was in the middle of the city, because there's no outdoor space, anytime anything was going on, everyone was in each other's space. There's very limited space. And partially that was because to do things like watch TV or play video games, there was so much noise from the street that if you wanted to sit in those front rooms, which would be perfect for doing the traditional Nicaraguan thing where you hang out with the neighbors, it did not work for the kids to use it. So they were always in our bedrooms, and there was just no space for us to entertain or hang out or do anything casual in the way that we kind of need to do it, and no space for the dogs to run, and a constant, I mean truly constant need, hola, absolutely constant need for one of us to be walking the dogs for long periods of time outside. So if anybody came to visit or to do anything, it was always a matter of, okay, well, hold on, we've got to manage the kids because they can't handle things on their own because of the way the house is, and the dogs have to constantly be walked, so it's interrupting every activity. It was really hard. And now having people over is so easy. It's been fantastic. So that was our day. We had a really good day, and I hope this was a really nice walk. And please remember to like and subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee. That comes directly to me and really helps a lot on the channel. And remember to share on social media, tell your friends about the show, and I will see all of you tomorrow.